take my crown. Oh, Jah bless, I say no man curse. Things getting better when they thought it would be worse. Here comes the officers asking for a search. They found no weapon, just only a draw first. But I'm so solid as a rock, they just can't stop me now. Even when they set their traps, they just can't stop me now. People will say this and that, they just can't stop me now. Even when they set up roadblocks, they just can't stop me now. When they come with their evil thought, I just listen whenever they talk. I is the light into my dark. He cut and clear all my path. They fight me without a cause, trying to make my life so hard. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, give it all reward. I'm so solid as a rock, they just can't stop me now.
Thank you, DJ.
Even when they set their traps, they just can't stop me.
PNM people, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host shall encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war shall rise against me, in this I will be confident. One thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, and to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple. The political leader of the People's National Movement, the man from Mason Hall, who has joined us tonight, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Laventille West, the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. What did I just say? Diego Martin, Diego Martin. Francine, cool it, Francine, Diego Martin West. Okay, Diego Martin. Listen, I see Francine and a host of Diego Martin people rushing down here. Diego Martin West. Prime Minister Stuart Young, Chairman of the PNM and Member of Parliament for Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West. In the politics, you can't make mistake with seats. I can tell you who is the Member of Parliament for La Hoqueta Talparo yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And no amount of kilowatts could do anything about that. I am so pleased to see such a beautiful sea of red here in Exodus Spaniard. But there are a few things tonight. I must share with you. Because you know I have been involved in the politics for some time. When I check, I realize I am in this thing for 38 years. I say, but I must be getting younger and younger. But something happened yesterday that caused me pause. I was on my way. Nomination day was yesterday. And all over Trinidad and Tobago, the democratic process was in play. As nominees from various political parties led their supporters to the returning officer to file their nomination. This is normally done with some level of fanfare. Maxi taxi, little motorcade, tassa drum, African drum, dancers, music truck. To my surprise, while I'm heading down to La Hoqueta, I see in St. Joseph and Barataria motorcade going down the road and people happy to nominate the candidate. My campaign team is telling me that the police in La Hoqueta say no music truck, no tassa, no parang, no drum, no dancer. Just put your finger on your lip and go and do your nomination. As a matter of fact, my supporters were told to stay 120 feet away from the nomination booth. And being the law-abiding citizens as we are, we obeyed the instructions of the police. To my surprise, as I drive into the city of La Hoqueta, I am to be greeted by a big 40-foot yellow truck, pumping music and wailing in the street. I said, what manner of injustice is this? So I took out my phone and I touched video record and I started to record the commotion. And upon doing that, I now had evidence, because by that time my truck quiet can't make a squeak under threat of being impounded. And using that, I then forwarded it to say, well, what going on with yellow and red have to stay quiet. When I exited submitting my nomination successfully to be your next member of parliament for La Hoqueta Talparo, while my supporters were told to stay 120 feet away, and I exit the returning officer office, is yellow greeting me at the gate. Well, by that time, I could not restrain the sea of red that descended upon them to let them know that in La Hoqueta Talparo, red is the word, red is the word, red is the word. So if you hear the DJ play, you can't keep a good man down. It's because no matter what they do, no matter what they try, no matter who they recruit, it is PNM, 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 PNM. And we will whip them. We will whip them. They just troubled my spirit yesterday. So I decided, you know what? It's door to door, street by street, avenue by avenue. We will go to every home in this country and let them know that we are ready and responsible to continue the governance of Trinidad and Tobago. And if, as Larry Lala SC say, that all they're good for is opposition, I believe him. We will leave them in opposition forever and ever and ever. But you know, I must share a few things with you tonight. My wife tells me to shout too much on the platform, so I know she's listening, so I calm myself down. I'm not going to shout tonight. Shout! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! Great is the PNM! And we shall prevail! They feel that somehow they can fool us, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, to return them to the corridors of power in this country again. And what are they doing? They tried Cambridge Analytica in 2020. You remember that? Now, there's something called astroturfing. I want you to write that down in your head. Astroturfing. What is astroturfing? The deceptive practice of presenting an orchestrated marketing or public relations campaign in the guise of unsolicited comments from members of the public. Anything you post now on social media that making sense, that come from the PNM, that talking about good governance, that talking about development, one set of bots jump on it, and it's all kind of comments about if the UNC win, everybody win. About yellow is the code. Listen to me, people, particularly the young people in this country. You know, I understand that social media influencers who are very influential in this country, many young people following them, receiving inducements in paper bag so that they could push the narrative of the UNC about yellow is the code. Yellow is the code to thief, the code to get in the treasury. They like the word code because when they think about the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago, they're thinking about a safe in the head where they could go and punch a code and get in and get into your money. Never again. Never, ever, ever again. They want governance so badly, not because they want the development of Trinidad and Tobago, and there's evidence that they do not want it. You know why? Because while this government, Dr. Rowley, Stuart Young, SC, negotiating for the development of this country, bringing new resources in terms of gas and business to Trinidad and Tobago, they bad talking Trinidad and Tobago. Imagine they want to run here, but bad talking. They care about you, the young people of this country. They bad talking the country. You imagine that? You going out in the village and bad talking your own home? That is what they do to this country. While we're trying to bring business in, they bad talking the country. And let us talk about their influence on the young people. Do you remember the UNC in office closing down every youth program they could put their hands on? How many of you knew about the youth camps in this country? Chatham, Presto, Chagaramas, Mount St. George and Tobago, El Dorado for girls, they shut down all. When I told them that last year, one of them jumped out and says, not we, is the PNM shut it down. You just go on Google now and punch in Google who closed down El Dorado Youth Camp, and you will see it was the United National Congress government. Well, you know what? The PNM government has decided to reopen every single one. For the benefit of the young people, because their idea about young people is to trick you, to use social media influencers to cause you to stay home and not vote. I walk the streets of La Joqueta and some young people telling me, I don't vote. I say, why? Because of religion? No, I just don't vote. And when you engage them, you understand that they lack the information necessary to cause them to make a correct decision as to their own future. So I had to sit with them and say, listen, the UNC, what they have in store for you when they say yellow is the code, is that their idea of crime fighting was a state of emergency where they lock up thousands of young black people in this country, and we will not forget it ever, ever, ever. That is their idea of youth development. Our idea for all citizens of this country, we govern for all the citizens. It is the political party that represents every single race, creed, culture, religion, is the PNM. We do not discriminate. When we put a policy in place, whether you're from Chagaramas, whether you're from Caranage, whether you're from La Hoqueta, whether you're from Pinal, whether you're from Barrackpore, whether you're from Cuba, whether you're from Chaguanas, we govern for all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So that we put an agricultural program in place called YAP. It is a 2-year program at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. I can only tell you about a handful of them tonight, because if I go to talk about all the youth programs of the government, we're here till tomorrow morning. So I'll pick out just a few. We put an agricultural program in place where you are certified by the University of Trinidad and Tobago for 2 years. After you successfully complete that, 1 year at ECIAF, the other year you're on a farm learning from a master farmer. When you finish that apprenticeship program successfully, you get 2 acres of land, a starter home, and $20,000 to start your own business, courtesy the government of Trinidad and Tobago. The same young people who they're trying to convince now that yellow is the code and they love you and they care about you, when we introduce that program, they call you strangers and say the PNM putting strangers on agricultural land. You sift that and try to understand what they mean by that. So if you're from Port of Spain, you can't go Chatham, you're a stranger. Well, in this country, every creed and every race find an equal place. We have the Shade House program at Tucker Valley in Chagaramas, where we are teaching young people in collaboration with the University of the West Indies, protected agriculture under shade house circumstances. Dr. Rowley, in the PNM, we drink water. And we do announce candidates when we go to religious functions. We have Balize House, we have a screening committee, and when we finish screen at Balize House, we send out a press release and say who our candidate is. They have office on top of rum shop and all kind of things, so I understand how they operate in the UNC. After they get booted out, a Renzi complex, for whatever reason, they can't settle down, they can't find a home, and want to jealous us because we have that beautiful red edifice called Balize House at number 1 Tranquility Street, Port of Spain. So we have the Shade House program down in Tucker Valley. Young people down there planting lettuce, chives, celery, all kind of nice tomatoes. Dr. Rowley and Prime Minister Young will tell you, nice cucumbers, so that they could sell to the hotels and the restaurants and the supermarkets. That is our idea of youth development. To date, we have trained 1,400 young farmers in this country. And they want to tell you about yellow is the code, red is the word, red is the word, red is the word. Look, when they come by, you just close your door or run them from in front of your place here. And we will continue to offer accredited training to all the young people of Trinidad and Tobago. We have a cutting short for you tonight. I'll give you a next part some other time. But we have determined that the young people of this country are productive people who, given the opportunity, will realize their fullest potential. So heavy equipment operation. We have trained hundreds of young people to operate backhoe, excavator, dump truck, bulldozer, skid steer, and they are now employed. I went to a certain function and go on to the bar to get a little water. And the young man who was in the bar, looking at me as if he knows me, I know I don't know him. He said, "Sir, I could speak to you a minute?" I said, "Yes." After I gave him a drink of water, he said, "I just want to thank you and the government." I said, "For what?" He said, "You all had a program in heavy equipment operation. I am a graduate of that, and now I am working, employed, operating heavy equipment." I said, "And what you're doing here?" He said, "This is my part-time hustle." And I was sure that we were onto something good when Dr. Rowley set up the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. We importing new cars into this country every day. Electronic cars, hybrid cars, etc. And we need to train mechanics how to fix that. We launched a program in conjunction with NESC out of the Ministry of Education, training our young people how to fix these new fancy motor cars. We have so far trained over 300 new mechanics, so that when you have problems, you could get on to these fellas. And we will soon establish a data center where you can just log in and get access to all of these young people. We'll have some discussions with Nalis on that. So you could just, you're looking for a carpenter, you're looking for a mason, you're looking for a mechanic, you're looking for a joiner, you're looking for a plumber. All of these people will be in the skills bank, and you could just log in wherever you are and give these young people an opportunity for their future in Trinidad and Tobago. And so when, as a young person, you hear the UNC hiring influencers to come and tell you that you should not vote, that the PNM is not good for you, that yellow is the code, and that if UNC win, everybody wins. Well, we could believe Larry Lala SC when he says, when UNC wins, if UNC wins, everybody loses. We will whip them seat by seat and make sure that there's a stable future for the young people of this country. When you have a decision to make, young people, understanding that all those comments that you're seeing fabricated by AI to make you feel that it's some popular position, it is really them doing the Cambridge Analytica again to try to work on your mind. They feel you're stupid, you know. You know, they think that you're foolish. They're insulting you by thinking you will read that bot-generated comment, unsolicited, directed to influence your mind, to put them back in the treasury where they could rape the country again and again and again. And we say, for the development of this country, could you please ignore Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the United National Congress? They're so desperate to get into office. They went and they pick up Tom here, Jerry there, anybody that they feel. Anybody could be a candidate in the UNC. Could you imagine? In the PNM, when we are screening candidates, ask Dr. Rowley. There's a lonely chair down in the corner, and you better have your proper qualifications. It are no AI-generated certificates in the PNM to be a candidate. The party group must nominate you. The constituency group will screen you. You come to Balize House at number 1 Tranquility Street, Port of Spain. You wait your turn, and then you sit before a committee to convince them that you are a decent citizen worthy of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. sneak into a screening the other day and didn't fully disclose his credentials. On a question posed by Dr. Rowley, we realized the chap had some questions to answer to the law. Well, he was promptly advised, sorry, sir, this is not Renzi Complex. If you want to screen and you have criminal record, head down to Renzi Complex. You could get some attention there. In the PNM, we are for decency and morality in public affairs. Can't be on no charge and come to want to be a candidate in the PNM. So tonight, in Tunapuna, you vote for Esmond Ford. In Diego Martin West, you vote for Hans Devines. In Laventille West, you vote for Kareem Marcel. In St. Anne's East, you vote for Nyan Gasby Dolly. In St. Joseph, Terence Dialsing. In Port of Spain North, St. Anne's, you vote for Stuart R. Young. In La Hocata, Tal Paro, no matter who they bring, watts, kilowatts, megawatts, or what, you vote for Foster Cummings on the PNM. All over Trinidad and Tobago, we will retire Kamla Prasad Bisasa from politics, and we will continue to give sound and stable governance to Trinidad and Tobago. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall, and we shall, and we shall prevail.
I'm so sorry, does a rock, they just can't stop me now. Even when they say